Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a story that many of you might find painfully familiar. It's a story about love, distance, and the devastating moment when you realize the person you trust most isn't who you thought they were. This is Mark's story. Mark and Sarah had been married for 8 years. To everyone who knew them, they were the perfect couple. They had built a beautiful life together, renovating their dream home, traveling, and sharing countless inside jokes. Mark thought their bond was unbreakable. He loved Sarah more than anything, and he believed she felt the same way. But over the last year, a subtle chill had crept into their home. The laughter didn't come as easily, the late-night talks became shorter, and the comfortable silence they once shared now felt heavy and strained. Sarah seemed distant, lost in her own world. When Mark tried to talk to her about it, she'd just sigh and say she was stressed from work or just tired. He tried to be understanding, giving her space, cooking her favorite meals, and suggesting weekend getaways to reconnect. But nothing seemed to work. The gap between them just kept widening. One evening, Sarah sat him down. Her eyes wouldn't meet his. She said, "Mark, I think I need some space." The words hit him like a physical blow. Space. They lived in the same house, shared the same bed. What did that even mean? She explained that she felt lost, that she needed to find herself again, and that maybe some time apart would help them appreciate each other more. She suggested she stay with her sister for a few weeks. Mark's heart sank, but he loved her. If this was what she needed to be happy, he had to let her try. He helped her pack a bag, his hands shaking as he folded her clothes. As he kissed her goodbye at the door, he whispered, "I love you. Just come back to me." She gave him a weak smile and said, "I'll call you." The first few days were agonizing. The house was silent, a constant echoing reminder of her absence. Mark threw himself into work, trying to keep his mind busy. He'd text her good morning and good night, but her replies were often short and delayed. He kept telling himself to be patient, to trust the process. He kept telling himself this was for the best. About a week later, Mark had a terrible day at work. A major project had gone wrong, and all he wanted was to hear his wife's voice. He called her, but it went straight to voicemail. He tried her sister, but she didn't pick up either. A knot of anxiety tightened in his stomach. He just needed to know she was okay. On a whim, he remembered they had a shared location app on their phones, something they'd set up for safety years ago and had completely forgotten about. He opened the app, his thumb hovering over her icon. A part of him felt guilty, like he was invading her privacy, but the worry was overwhelming. He tapped it. The map loaded and the pin dropped. His blood ran cold. The location wasn't her sister's house. It wasn't even in the same city. It was an apartment complex on the other side of town, a place he'd never seen before. Panic set in. Was she in trouble? Did something happen? He jumped in his car and drove, his mind racing through 100 different worst-case scenarios. He kept calling her, but her phone remained off. The drive felt like an eternity. As he pulled up to the address, he saw her car parked on the street. A wave of relief washed over him, quickly followed by confusion. What was she doing here? He got out of his car and approached the building. He didn't know which apartment was hers, or what he was even going to do. As he stood there, feeling lost, the main door of the building opened, and there was Sarah, but she wasn't alone. She was laughing, her head resting on the shoulder of another man. The man had his arm wrapped tightly around her waist. And then, right there under the streetlight, he leaned down and kissed her. It wasn't a quick peck. It was a deep, passionate kiss, the kind she hadn't given Mark in years. The world stopped. The air left Mark's lungs. It was like watching a movie of his life being destroyed right in front of him. The man wasn't a stranger. It was a colleague from her office, someone she'd always referred to as just a friend. The space she needed wasn't about finding herself. It was about making room for someone else. Sarah finally saw him. The smile vanished from her face, replaced by a mask of pure shock and horror. The man beside her looked confused. Mark just stood there, frozen. He couldn't speak, couldn't move. All the little signs, the late nights at work, the secretive texts, the emotional distance, it all crashed down on him at once. The puzzle was complete, and the picture it formed was devastating. He didn't yell, he didn't scream, he just turned around, walked back to his car, and drove away. The entire drive home was a blur of tears and a single repeating question. Why? He had given her everything. his love, his trust, his entire world, and she had shattered it without a second thought. When Mark got home, he walked through the silent house. Every photo, every shared object, now a monument to a lie. The life he thought he had was a facade. The woman he loved was a stranger. Her request for space was the cruelest kind of deception, a gentle lie to cover a brutal truth. This kind of betrayal leaves scars that can last a lifetime. It shatters your ability to trust, not just others, but your own judgment. For anyone who has gone through something similar, please know that you are not alone. It's not your fault, and healing is possible, even when it feels like your world has ended. Reaching out to friends, family, or a professional therapist can make all the difference. It's a sign of strength to ask for help when you're carrying such a heavy burden. Thank you for listening to Mark's story today. If this resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel for more content like this. Sharing these stories helps us all feel a little less alone in our struggles. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next one.